Good morning again. So we have our varsity coaches here, right? Everybody has a folder, either a red or a orange folder. Great. Anybody that does not have one, raise your hand. I got two left. Okay. We're gonna move into this session because the time is going to go really quick. If you open that folder, if you see agenda there, some things that we're going to talk about in this session as it relates to varsity coaches and varsity leadership. We're going to start out with a quick activity. It'll take about 5 minutes to do it, either at your table or partner up with somebody. And there's a set of questions that says discussion questions. If you can discuss in small groups or with partners those questions and come up with some answers or answers for the questions, then I'm going to kind of randomly pick people to just share what their answer was for that particular question out of the group session. Then after that, we're going to go through a little list of quality and characteristics of varsity and head coaches. Then I'm going to give you an academic analogy in terms of how I think about the varsity leadership piece. We're going to talk about the circle of influence. And then we're going to allow yourself to give yourself a self-assessment there, and that'll be just between you and your piece of paper and your pencils. Nothing that you'll turn in or show to anybody or share at your table or anything like that. And then we'll kind of wrap up, and then I think we move on to, I don't know if it's lunch or look at the agenda or to another session there. So we're going to kind of take that in that order and kind of move forward with it. So at this time, at your table or with a partner, look at that next sheet that has those questions there. Let me read the questions. And discuss those and write down the answer. Like I said, I'm going to call on people just randomly, so kind of be prepared to answer. Who are the three individuals that students and parents listen to most in the community? If you heard me talk, you probably already know the answer to that. What is a head or varsity coach? What does it mean to be a head or varsity coach? What is expected of me as a head varsity coach? And how do you select your supporting cast or your assistants? So have some discussion around for 5 minutes there, jot some answers down, then we'll come back in the bigger group, and discuss what the responses are. All right? Can we handle that? We can handle that? All right. Here with your colleagues and jot down. As we are asking for responses, I'm going to pass the mic to whoever I kind of randomly pick for the purpose of the video so that you are heard and your response is heard on the video. And the answers were, I'm not looking for any dissertations, and so, the extra, paragraph in terms of trying to explain, the answer and this sort of thing. We're not really looking for that. There's no grade given on it, but what I do want to happen is as a result of the activity, keep it really simple and streamlined so that as a leader and a varsity coach, you kind of know what that role is that you do, okay? So let's go to the first question. Do we have any volunteers? Maybe you have to start like that. Any volunteers for that first question? Stand up and tell us who you are because there's a video going.
My name is Andre Posey, head coach of varsity boys and girls tennis. And we discussed three people that students listen to are pastors, parents, and coaches.
All right, okay. Any objections to that? All right, a different answer over here. And you are who? And who are you?
Brandon Guyton, head boys basketball coach at Union. We came up with the pastor, principal, and the coach.
Okay. All right. Another response over here. And you are who?
I'm D Unique. I am the varsity cheerleading coach at Union. And there's not really an objection, but we just want to add the peers, their classmates.
Okay. All right. All good responses. All good responses. Surveys and studies show that the three people that are critical to impacting students and parents, and I heard the response in the room already, so just kind of drive it home. But in communities, parents and students listen to the pastor, the teacher, and the coach. They very rarely remember anybody else, the mayor, the governor, maybe the president sometimes, but if the pastor says it, if the teacher says it, or if that coach says it, it's solidified in their minds. So good job. Who wants to volunteer for the next one? Well, what is a head varsity coach? Any volunteers? Or you want to just take it? Hey, we're amongst family here, so you don't have to be afraid to answer. And you are?
Shatoya Likely, Ottawa Hills Girls Basketball. The head coach should be the leader, the face of the program, and a role model.
All right. All right. Any additions to that? Anything different from that? Want to try something? All right.
We added mentorship.
Mentorship. Anything different added? Something over here? No? Okay. All right. All right. Good responses. What we want you to think about in terms of varsity or head coach is that you are the lead teacher. You are the lead teacher. Can't stress that enough. You are the lead teacher. As a varsity and as a head, meaning you're way up here, if kids are supposed to learn it down here, they've got to get it from up there. So in your sport, if you run across a third grader not performing a drill right, don't know the vocabulary, don't know the culture of the sport, you have to stop and ask yourself, from where did they learn it? And if it didn't come from you, then there's your opportunity for a teachable moment or to impact the learning. But you are the lead teacher. Try to keep it that simple. Think of yourself as the lead teacher. So if anybody's going to learn anything about your sport, it should be coming from you. Who wants to tackle what does it mean to be a varsity coach? A little bit different from what is a varsity coach. And you are?
I am Jim Lundy, head coach, Union High School Wrestling. Means to be dedicated to teaching, mentoring, and leading student athletes.
All right, great. Anybody else? Anybody else? Okay. Over here. And you are?
Mike Eddington, baseball, Union High School. We put communicate, educate your vision of your program.
Great, great. Anybody else? You know, I always try to call on the people that are trying to ignore me, so let me go over here. What you got for us? Stand up and tell us who you are.
I'm Sean Bradshaw, and I'm a varsity running backs coach for the football team. I have actually someone who takes on a lot of responsibilities, personally.
Great answer. Great answer. Great answer. Let me kind of solidify and kind of bring it home. What does it mean to be head varsity coach? It means that you are responsible for the learning. You're responsible for the learning. Like I said, if they don't learn it from you, who? So you're right on target. If they don't learn from you, from whom will they get it? It'll either be the TV, video, kids across the street, relatives, whatnot. So you're responsible for the learning. So when you see learning that is not like what you envision or what you wanted, there's your opportunity to impact it. So you're responsible for the learning. That's what it means to be a varsity coach. You're responsible for the learning. All right? Let's move on to the next one. What's expected of me as a head varsity coach? Who wants to tackle that one? What's expected? Oh, I know who you are, but tell everybody else.
Dan Drosky, head varsity coach at Union High School, cross country and track. Our table kind of discussed what it is expected of a head coach, and we thought that we are the role models, so we should be there on time every day. We're the ones that have to double check the schedules, set up the schedules, make sure the buses are there, make sure that all the uniforms are inventoried, everything's, all our I's and T's are dotted and crossed. So a lot of administrative duties fall on the head coach. We also said that we should be the ones that are the program builders from the bottom all the way up through high school. Make sure that we are the ones giving the skills out. We're the role models of the students, of the school, the program. If it's not in the student handbook, we shouldn't be breaking that handbook. So no cussing, no swearing, no drinking, no smoking. We're the ones that should be the leaders. And the kids look up to us. So how the changes we want to see, we're the ones that are implemented, and we should be following that.
All right, great. Anybody else want to add to that? Over here. I'll see they're no longer ignoring me now. And you are?
My name is Anthony Griffin. I am the head coach of the bowling team at Ottawa Hills. And what me and Mr. Bradshaw talked about was provide direction and show leadership, and also be a liaison between students, parents, and teachers.
Excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Anybody else? Huh? So we'll kind of summarize it, and what you will hear throughout this session is that I will constantly make academic analogies to it. But as a varsity or head coach, what's expected is that you will create and have a highly effective learning environment. A highly effective, whether it's in the swimming pool, on the football field, on the basketball court, on the track, wherever it is you are, that you have a highly effective learning environment where kids are actually learning. School never stops just because the bell rings at 2:50 and we're going into after school. The learning continues. The classroom just changed. Your classroom happens to be a football field or swimming pool or golf course. But you are expected to have a highly effective learning environment. And Donald Trump has a quote in his book. You know, a lot of times we focus on wins and losses, and, you know, those things are important. But he has a quote in his book that says, if you take care of the people, the numbers will take care of themselves. So if you take care of the people, the numbers will take care of themselves. If you take care of your student athletes well, those wins and losses will fall right where you want them to. The numbers will take care of themselves. But think about the student in a holistic fashion, and making sure that they're in a highly effective learning environment, that you understand that you're responsible for the learning. Like I said, who else, what higher level can an athlete go beyond you in the district and find out what it is that you want? There is no higher level. You are it. So if it has to come, it has to come from you. A head varsity coach is a lead teacher. Lead teacher. You're the head honcho. And those three individuals that people listen to, the pastor, teacher, and the coach. The coach. I remember talking with the superintendent. Her grandson plays a sport, and she was so astounded that he would always bring home things that the coach would say that she had told him previously. But it didn't ring or register with her saying it as grandma or the superintendent, but when the coach said it, it was golden, you know, the golden, you know. So when the coach speaks, people listen. When the coach speaks. So, and that's one of the things that we're going to talk about a little later on in this session, is to really understand what level of influence that you have, especially with a title as varsity coach. People listen to you before they listen to me. Okay. But great, so thank you for participating in that. Move on to the next set of documents that says top 10 characteristics of a head varsity coach. Should be right after that activity. First one up there talks about varsity coaches being visionary. Final destination, dreaming beyond state. You got to have a vision for your program. And my preference is that you dream beyond state. There's so many competitions beyond state. And if you only shoot for state and don't make it, just like I was talking about with the GPA, if you only shoot for state and don't make it, then you're, you know, kind of disappointed. But look at taking your program national, international, global. Shoot at those ranks and have a vision beyond state. Have goals for your program. And I kind of jotted in there what they should be. 100% graduation rate, 100% college acceptance, successful wins and loss records, have goals for your programs. What do you want to do with your program, and start to chart paths toward. I was telling you about how the record that I was a part of failed because Coach Shellman had a goal in terms of where he wanted his kids to perform, and he charted and he started to, making steps year by year and got there. Establish the culture of your program. Establish the culture of your program. How does your program operate? How do people find out about that? How do they know what are the acceptable or agreeable norms? What are the roles? How many of you, I usually do this in the academic environment as well, how many of you have graduated from an Ivy League college? Raise your hand. How many of you know some of the requirements that it takes to get into an Ivy League college? Raise your hand. Some of the requirements that it takes to get into an Ivy League college. Usually I have a couple of hands go up. Nobody knows what it takes to get into an Ivy League college? Okay, one, yeah. Usually when I ask that question like with principals and teachers, I'll ask it for a reason. And I ask the question, how many graduated from an Ivy League school? And depending on the audience, maybe one hand, maybe no hands go up. But then when I ask, how many of you know the requirements to getting into an Ivy League school? A lot of hands go up. And I ask the question, why is that? Why is it that you know what it takes to get into an Ivy League school? And the answer is, Ivy League schools do a tremendous job of letting you know what it takes to get into their institutions long before you even reach for the application. You better have your GPA in order. You better have some money going, and you better, have some awards and acknowledgments, to your credit, if you plan on being a part of the institution. And so they have communicated it so well that it becomes common knowledge to just the regular public audience. And so you have to do the same thing about your programs. People need to know what it is that you expect, how your program operates, what it does, what are the goals and plans and the vision for it there, So we'll talk more about that. And that comes from you. If it doesn't come from you, where will it come? All right. Establishing trust. Establishing trust with those you lead before you can ever lead them. People need to trust you before they will accept your leadership. Many of you have probably seen those like leadership camps where people gather around and they put you in a group and you fold your arms and you're supposed to fall backwards and you trust the people that they will catch you. It's just an activity to build trust. But the concept is all about in order for you to lead or be an effective leader, people have to trust you. Do you live up to your word? Do you do what you say? Do you follow through? Those sort of things that build lines of trust. Do you listen? Do you understand? Those sort of things. Here's a quote from a coach, Vermeil. Players will not follow you completely until they can trust you completely. I think that kind of goes without saying. So establishing trust. Provide direction. You'll hear me, preach about this over and over again. Head varsity coach possess the highest level of expertise. So when a lower level coach, whether it's JV, freshman, 8th grade, middle school, elementary, when they're seeking out expertise, they should be coming to you. If they can't come to you, they're going to seek it from somewhere. Where that is, we don't know. It might not be what you want either. So you all hold the master plan and the roadmap. Every little kid wants to play for the high school varsity coach, wear that high school jersey. Well, you hold that roadmap as to how to get to you. And you need to put kids on the right road. If I'm trying to get to Muskegon, I need to put you on 96 going west, So you have the roadmap as to how to get to you, but they won't know that unless you share that with them. If you want to get to me at Ottawa Hills, when you get there, you need to get on Burton and travel east and stop at Rosewood. You have the roadmap as to how to get to you, and so you need to share that with them, whether that includes your academic standards. I expect you to be a good student athlete in elementary, middle school, as well as high school. I expect you to participate in off-season conditioning. I expect you to be a multiple sport athlete. Whatever those expectations are, you have that roadmap as to how to get to you. They need to know that. They need to know that. So providing direction, ensure preparation. So Coach Wooden from UCLA says, when opportunity comes, it's too late to prepare. When opportunity comes, it's too late to prepare then. So how do you get ahead of the game? Competition always has a way of revealing whether or not a team has made the best use of its practice time. Yeah, I always say the season is really just the final examination. The season is the final examination. So you get to see how hard kids have been studying for the science test all year long when the season starts. So you get a chance to see it. So it will separate the wheat from the chaff there. So you ensure preparation. You make sure environments and conditions are safe and effective for students as well. So you ensure preparation as part of a varsity coach's role. Skilled communicator. Don't assume others can read your mind. So whatever that goal is for your program, we've got to develop a mechanism by which everybody knows how your program operates, what the expectations are. Remember how Harvard does it. Before you reach for an application, they've told the world, have your GPA in order, or don't even reach for it. So if people want to be a part of your program, how do you disseminate and make sure everybody knows? Before you come out for the swim team, here's what you need to have in order, and here's what's going to be expected. No harm in over-communicating. There's no harm in hitting people over the head with information over and over again. John Helmholt, our Executive Director of Communication and External Affairs, tells us that we have to inundate people at least 7 to 8 times with the same information before it sticks. So we don't do the one dab will do you, or one dose will hold you. So you have to inundate people, and that's how you become, like I said, a norm and a regular in people's minds and their thoughts. Motivation and inspiration. Like I said, all the little kids are looking up to one day trying to be varsity level, wearing the varsity jersey, being on that varsity field, being in varsity competitions, bragging to their friends, I'm on varsity. Motivation and inspiring kids to do better. I come from an era a long time ago, I'm older than most of you in here in the room, where I did better because I was told to do better. I didn't have no choice. It was non-negotiable. So today's population is a little different. We have to, because that type of parenting doesn't always exist, we have to kind of inspire kids to do better, which means we show them why there's a benefit to doing better. So we have to motivate and inspire. And you have to promote the program. We need to know about your program. So skilled communicator, high ethical and moral character. You're representing your name, and I said this in the opening statements. You're naming yourself, and you're representing the entire district, school, your team, and your community. So you have to think before you act. And then in this digital age, I think we learned a lot from Rutgers University. Everybody saw that video, right? In the digital age, assume that you're being videoed, even when you may not be, because you could be. And before you know it, it's on somebody's Facebook, Instagram, what else is there? All of the other ones. But it's all over the world. And then somebody's picking up the phone, calling you, knocking on your door, and asking you to respond to the video that's out there. And you're like, what video? Oh, look, let us show you. Pull out their phone. Is that you? You know? So be responsible and understand the age and the time that we live in. Very different, very different. A desire for student success in life. Like I said, you know, we would love for them all to go pro, Olympics, Division I, so on and so forth. But the reality is that most of them will land in real life. And have we prepared for them? You have to have a desire and a goal for them to be successful in life. So you have to have long-term goals for student athletes. You know, yes, we can put the NBA on the docket, but let's have a plan B and a C as well. You need to have a satisfaction of seeing students take the skills that they've learned from you and enhance their life in some way, shape, or form. We all can't be in it for the money, right? Can't be in it to get rich. You know, a lot of times people think administrators make a lot of money, but when you divide it out, I'm on call 7 days a week, summers, holidays, weekends, all included. So when you divide it out, I make a little bit above minimum wage when it's all out there, you know. So you have to be in it for the desire that kids will take what you do and what you have taught them and enhance their life in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So that's what you really have to think about. Providing discipline and accountability. You can demand excellence. You can demand discipline without being demeaning. You know, there's a difference. We demand excellence, we demand discipline, and kids learn those skills about giving it 100%, working collaborative effort, giving a team effort, you know, showing up on time, you know, being committed, you know, those sort of things. So we can be disciplined, we can demand excellence without being demeaning, set high expectations, but also when we set the bar high, let's create some steps by which they can climb the ladder and actually get there, all right? Superior knowledge of the sport. You should be a constant student of the sport. Like I was saying in the room the other day, what kind of doctor do you want operating on you if you need an operation? One who got his medical degree and did nothing after that, or one who got a medical degree and kept up with the latest equipment, training, medicines, and so on and so forth? Same thing in your profession. Surround yourself with expertise. That's what that question was about, how you select your supporting cast. You know, as a leader, you're not going to know it all. Can't do it all. So are you surrounding yourself with expertise and a supporting cast that are operating as an extension of you? We have to be careful. We want to bring our friends and relatives and I would say TT and Nene on board on our supporting cast, but do they provide expertise? Do they complement what it is that you're doing? You know, are they as strong in an area that you might not be as strong in? So you have to choose your supporting cast and surround yourself with expertise. And study the patterns and trends that are going on in your sports. What's going on in the state, nationally, regionally, around the world in your particular sport? What's going on? And stay ahead of the curve out there. And commitment to professional growth. Your learning must evolve. You can't stay the same way all the time. Everything that stays the same is usually dead. Anything not growing is dead. Anything not growing is dead. Stay current and keep up with the times. You know, we're moving into, like I said, this digital age, and we're going to be doing a lot of things electronically, communicating with you all electronically, having you respond electronically, and those sort of things. So keep up with the times. Don't get left behind the times there. So those are 10 characteristics that we share with you about characteristics of coach. Any comments, questions, feedback? Okay, I'm going to kind of zoom through the next couple things. Pull out where it says principle of your sport. That's an academic analogy. That's how I view you all. The leader of your sport and all of your associate principals will be your supporting cast. Your JV coaches, your freshmen, your assistant principals will be your middle school coaches. Your assistant principals will be your elementary volunteer coaches. 10 things that you need to be able to do in leading these groups. Provide that direction and leadership. Remember that? Get to know all of your students. And they should definitely know you. You should be a household name in Grand Rapids Public Schools, kindergarten through 12th grade in your sport. You should be a household name. If a kid plays your sport, you should definitely know who you are. Household name. Get to know your students. I know that's a challenge, but you will see that there's a lot of benefits from knowing when students actually know that you know who they are. Have intervals of meetings to ensure that everyone knows what you expect and what you're thinking. So as the leader in that master plan, have staff meetings. You're the principal of the sport. Call a staff meeting of all the wrestler coaches or the track coaches or the tennis coaches or football coaches. Have a staff meeting. You're the principal of the sport, and lay it out to your associate principal and your assistant principals. They need to know what you're thinking and what you have planned. Provide written plans or manuals for your lower level coaches. They should have something they can refer to. You know, give them specific direction, have something they can refer to and study, you know, give them homework. Engage parents and students at the early grades level, and that's part of that getting to know, or you should know them and they should know you. Develop year-round programming that keeps students and parents engaged. You know, when the season ends, what can they look forward to? What can they connect with? Provide standard communication periodically from the head coach. There's nothing that resonates more than a letter from the head coach, especially when it goes to like an elementary student or a middle school student. You know, congratulations on the great school year. Have a safe summer. Look forward to seeing you next year. Signed, Van Mayfield, head varsity coach at Ottawa Hills. Send that to a fourth grader. They will keep it for life. Keep it for life. It'll show up in their senior book. Look what I got when I was in fourth grade. The varsity coach knew me. Send them a Christmas card. You know, invest in a rubber stamp of your signature, because you won't have time to sign all those letters. It's about $15. Get a rubber stamp. The letter doesn't have to be no more than 2 or 3 sentences. Have your secretary or your athletic director secretary stamp those things. They can generate letters to all of your feeders and drop that letter in the mail. End of the school year, end of the season, holiday, and see what it does in terms of name recognition for you and how many refrigerators that letter is showcased on. Take pictures of yourself and your teams. Make hot cards. Get with your ADs on that. And see, won't that be on the refrigerators of every household there? Do those things. Work closely with your building AD on your program needs. Build community support for your programs. And you do that by letting people know what it is, how your program operates. Develop a brochure. Just like you see your brochure about GRPS offerings, you can do the same thing for your individual program, a brochure. Hand that out. Become highly visible in your lower level programs. Make those unannounced visits or scheduled visits. Go over there to their assemblies, be a guest on their assemblies, participate in their graduations and those sort of things. Be highly visible. You should be a household name, kindergarten through 12th grade in your sport. Okay, we'll be right over there. Pardon? Oh yeah, we got a gift. Are they here? Yep. Okay, bring them over. Yeah. Oh yes.
I just want to make a comment of 10 actions of coaches, or maybe it was a characteristic of coaches that I think is missing.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that listening is important, and being able to use that information that you hear, that you get from the students, is very valuable. You need to know how to apply it and use it to your benefit.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yeah. Listening. Yeah. Move on to the chart that says, as we're wrapping up here, increasing and expanding your circle of influence. Like I said, you have influences far-reaching beyond a lot of different people. Become a positive household name in your community. There should be no mystery as to who the varsity swim coach is at Union. Should be a mystery, or the bowling coach, or the tennis coach. You should be a household name. Become highly visible in your family schools. We're talking about that in a bigger group, you know, which is another important reason for you to have a highly skilled supporting cast, because they can carry on the duties back at home while you probably are out visiting schools or making appearances here, there, and everywhere. So you got to have a highly skilled supporting staff there. To be highly visible when you're not at home at the program. Like I said, ensure that everyone knows how your program operates. Communicate, and more communications. Every principal does a school newsletter. None of them will have any objection to you having a line, paragraph, a section in their newsletter, elementary, middle school, or high school. So if there's something that you want the community, and remember, newsletters just don't go to parents. They usually go to the community organizations, the businesses, and everything in that school community. So your message could leave Ottawa Hills and be not only in the households of the student and parents, but all of the businesses that get the newsletter, the churches, the foundations, and so on and so forth. So if there's something that you want the community to know about your program, get into those newsletters. Postcards, holiday cards, mentioned that a little earlier. Recognition letters, I mentioned that earlier. Hot cards, calendars. Ottawa Hills, was it Ottawa Hills basketball? Did a calendar, a really, really nice calendar of the team. I think you guys were in the weight room or something, and it had your schedule on there, but really nice PR tool to promote their program. And you see colleges do it all the time. You'll see Michigan State, University of Michigan, all that. There's nothing that stops any of you from having the same thing. Nothing. So that you can be on the refrigerators of everybody in your family schools. Robocalls. We have a system that allows us to make a phone call. You know how people call you about voting? We have the same system that can call houses. You can send a message out to your elementary kids, your middle school kids, or your high school kids, or all of them all together in your voice. And it will automate, we can automate it so that it goes one time out, every other day, every Friday, whatever that is. And so if there's a message, and when they pick up and hear now they'll hang up on other people calling about voting, but let it be the varsity coach. They'll listen. So think about those things. You need to become a household name. Host special events for your program that will connect and engage lower level kids and connect them there. The district-wide events that we have, such as, like I said, the Turkey Trot, the Holiday Classic, the Crosstown Throwdown, Floyd Mayweather Classic, those type of things, connect and be present and be visible in those situations, because those are community events, and it's great to be able to point to or show or introduce people from the community or public, the varsity coach of cheerleading, tennis, basketball, swimming, or whatever that is. So remember, you're the leaders. You're the lead teachers, responsible for the learning. You are the principal of your sport. At this time, we're going to be winding up. You can take this self-assessment. This is something you can do at any point in time. Look at it and answer those questions, because it hits all those 10 characteristics, and just rate yourself in terms of how you think your program is doing. And ask the second question: does your program show evidence of the rating that you gave yourself? Like I said, that's just for you, nobody else. There. Also, I have a text that I want to share with all of the varsity coaches as you leave here and go into the, where are we going?
Everybody actually is now going to be down in the classroom area, so it's going to be the 152 and the 148. So we're just going to go past the auditorium, make a left down the hall.
Based on name tag?
And then the name tag, you go into the separate room, just like she said before.
So then 148, is that blue or red?
She'll have to say when we
okay. So, all right. So then after that, we're going to go to lunch. So as you leave here, I have a text that I want you to have in your possession and read and share with your supporting cast in terms of things about coaching and what we think it takes to be great, become great coaches. All right? Thank you.